Hey guys, I'm super excited that you are interested in the band weekly journal that I designed this fall. It's been working really, really well. Um, I've gotten more kids practicing, I believe, than ever before. Some really good evidence and lots of data about it, and the kids are sounding better and focusing on better things. So here's how it works. I created it and then posted a link in my Moodle page. So this is the teacher view. It's kind of got a lot of extra stuff in it. But basically, when they get to their band section here, it goes to my website and then the band forum. And then, of course, right near the top is the band weekly journal. So they click on that, weekly. They type in the following information. What is your name? Email address, what hour, parents' email, which week they're journaling about. Have you been taking your instrument home every day? Um, I have one at home. I practice after school, blah, blah, blah. Have you been forgetting any materials for class? Sticks, reeds, mouthpiece, towel, blue book, 3-ring binder, sheet protectors, pencil, iPad. What did you work on during your home practice session? Um, they just get to free write here, whatever they want. How did it go? What would you do differently? How did you feel about it? What things did you do for warm-up? Basically, I wanted to give them an opportunity to think more about what they're doing and not just about how much time. As you all know, you can easily waste an hour, or you can have the most effective 10 minutes, and it has very little to do with how much time you spend. So I wanted to give some ideas here. I always included a spot where they could type in something else that they worked on, but everything from scales to band book, metronome, muscle memory, literature, planning. I always wanted to, always have talked about, planning the next session that you do. It's important. Adding some spice to it, variety, cooling down. Then, way after all that reflective time, it just asks how many minutes you practiced during the week, how many minutes on average day. So if they're doing, 200 minutes on the weekend, um, they get to check that, as opposed to finding out that it maybe is a little better to spread things out. Was it enough to get everything done? Do your parents have any comments? And then you hit continue. It goes into the next part. Oh, okay. I guess I would have had to fill that out. Anyway, that's nice too. It makes them fill it out. So I'll show you the rest of the questions from the teacher end of it. So when I want to make changes or save things or analyze the data, I just go in my website to Google Apps, log in. The nice part about having it on Moodle is that it's password protected. I don't get any random people filling it out, which you may get if you open it up and just put it on your website, but who cares, really? It doesn't matter. So I just go here to the Band Weekly Journal, and I enter these into my gradebook weekly, and it's incredibly easy compared to what I used to do. And I basically I give them 10 out of 10 if they do it, if they do the reflection and um, participate in filling out the form. So this is the database. It looks crazy. It's got lots and lots of data of the answers in it. And I'll show you some more later. I basically colorize the text when I've put it in the gradebook. So now if I go down to the bottom, this is the whole semester. Well, this is 3/4 so far. So it doesn't work super awesome as a database, which if you've ever used Google Forms and Google Spreadsheets, you'll realize like right now it's struggling to get to the bottom of this data. It's almost 4,000 entries here. So I color it after I put it into the database, and as you'll see when I get to the bottom, it turns black there. So these are the ones I have not yet put into the database. So what I do then is I go through and I actually highlight, I go through and read this right on here, but for the gradebook stuff, I just highlight their name, their class period, and the date that the week that they're journaling for, and I throw that into an Excel spreadsheet. Then I can sort it by hour or sort it by last name, depending on how I want to run my grade book. Here's a really cool feature. So once it's in here, it's great. They get their points. And then I can go and I can do show summary of responses. And this is really great to show the students. It's really cool. Some of the stuff is kind of pointless, but you can see, you know, most kids, 2,000 entries. And of course I can select which part of the database I want to show this. So I don't have to show all 4,000 responses. I can just look at last week if I want to. Probably the looks like most popular thing to forget to bring is the blue book. Some of these other charts look cool. Long tones is pretty popular. Hand positioning, and so percussion rudiments is one of the least popular thing, but that makes sense. Trying to get them to work on their range, long tones, breathing gym stuff, breathing exercises, what exercises they worked on, and it shows kind of the most popular choices that people did for cool down and practice. And then we get to here, the most 60 minutes was the most common total minutes. It looks like 120, and 60 is about what people do. That's, you know, basically 10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day. And then how many minutes to practice on an average day? 20 minutes is pretty much what people do. Some people do a little bit less, but you can, as a class, you can look at this, and then people who, what I've found is that people who don't practice very much, they realize that other kids are practicing. And kids who practice a lot, you know, they feel even better because they're above the curve. So it's actually worked really good. You can see that, you know, certain percentage, 85% of people are happy with the amount of time they're putting in, and that's a good little discussion to have. This is probably pretty elaborate as far as, you know, I don't go through this every week with the students. I've gone through this maybe once a quarter. Then for their performance assessment, they can so this is where we ended up on the last part before I wasn't allowed to go on, but I have them analyze their performance assessment. How did they do? Where did they lose points? What are they gonna? What were Mr. Anderson's comments? What were your comments? What will you do to get better? Change why I practice, change who I practice with, change what I practice. You can see the most common one would be spend more time. Next common would be practice more often. A lot of people said practice with a metronome down here. What are you doing for your project? Private lessons, mentorship, or smart music? How often are you working on that project? How is that working for you on a scale of 1 to 10? So they had a little slider that they got to choose. Comments, suggestions, any questions for Mr. Anderson? When will you fill out your next one? And then of course I get a chart that shows the frequency of when students are filling the stuff out. So that's a pretty cool little analytical thing. Like I said, it's been great for kids to just reflect. They do it at home pretty much, but a lot of times we will have a little bit of class time, and now of course since they have their iPads, I can have them do it during band rehearsal if we have a couple extra minutes. You know, it takes them, they've told me it takes them a little bit less than 5 minutes to do. So it's not a pain really, and they've been doing it. I've seen an increase in participation. That's the biggest part. Kids that never practiced before are now practicing. I have a higher percentage of kids participating. I used to have, you know, kids that would never turn in the practice records at all, and the whole year, and I'm just not seeing that as much. It's a lot easier to follow up. It's a quicker response, and I can get you know, data just on their kid. I can just do a sort right here by the student's name, and then go copy the kid's name, analyze it, and then send that to the parent and say, here's what your kid's practicing, and it's not exactly working for them. Is there any way we can help? Blah, blah, blah. So hopefully you like it. You could easily create this on your own. If you just go into your Google Drive, you go to Create, Form, and creating a form is very, very simple. You just start adding the questions here. You title it, You add a question and you choose what type of question it is right here. Add a new question. It can be a paragraph text, a checkbox, a scale, a grid. You could even, take mine. Probably I can just send it to you and you can take my questions and delete some of them right on this form, but this is where you add items, and then you start changing the questions. And that's basically it. Then it gives you this. You just go to this, then it kicks out this database and you go to the live form. And then you can just take this address from the top and send and link that. Or you can send form, I guess. Yeah, you can send this form. I suppose you could email at home. I haven't done that. You could embed form in a web page. You could have it literally just be on your web page instead of being a separate document that kids get kicked out to. But there you have it. I'm sure there are some questions that you have, but feel free to share this. A huge time saver too for me. Just going through all those papers and collecting papers, sorting papers, returning papers. That's all gone. It's been very easy to edit this stuff and to put it together, and to even creating it just is easier than the paper one to me. One more thing I was gonna show you. Let's see if I can go back. Yeah. I also, because I had kids wondering if they had entered it correctly, they would input it several times and I get duplicates. So I put this next one right below it called Weekly Journal Results, which is actually a bit of accountability for everybody too. They can actually go in and see what everyone else is putting in. So it's not really private data, it's just what they're working on. So I figured why not just share it? So whenever they want to see if they've entered theirs, they can click right there and see what other kids are working on, see what their friend is working on, and check out make sure that theirs went through. That's basically what people are using it for. So hopefully that helps you guys. Give me a call or email me whenever. Sorry this took so long.